Hey, everybody.
Hi, guys. Well, from Salt Lake City, Utah,
It's Thank God I'm Atheist.
the podcast.
I'm Frank.
And I'm Dan.
Coming up today, I found my patriarchal blessing. I thought it was lost.
Your psychic reading
My Mormon psychic reading
from those
the
many
Mormon
days ago.
soothsayer.
Yeah.
I thought it was gone. I knew that it wasn't like gone. I know they keep a record of it.
Right.
But I've lost my privileges, I'm sure, to be able to ask for a copy. And I'm not, and I know my mom has a copy, but I'm also not going to ask her for a copy.
Right.
Because it's a whole nother,
Kettle of fish.
can of worms.
Yeah.
That would be opening up. But yeah, so I was looking through a box. Had this old little file box, right? And I was like, I'm working on this new project. Yeah, I need to start getting organized. It's perfect. It's the perfect thing. And so I rummaged through, opened it up, and it has like student loan documents from the 90s,
right.
and like credit card statements from the 90s.
Sure. Yeah.
And I'm just like, well, okay, this is all trash. And then as I was going through it, lo and behold, in one of the little slips, there was my patriarchal blessing. And I was just like,
So
I had some crazy reaction to it.
We'll be talking about
fun.
that a little later on. I wonder if mine's in my files somewhere.
Yeah.
It could be floating around still.
Yeah, you should look for it, Dan.
Yeah.
It's like, it would be fun
But
to do a
isn't it-
little compare and contrast.
Yeah, it would be.
Because it is just soothsaying. Right.
It's
We'll talk about
it.
opening up a little bag of chicken bones, pulling them out, shaking them, and trying to...
right. And they do literally do that. Everyone should take that literal.
Mormons are great.
Mormons, they're a
little more creepy than you
It's a
think.
little known fact that Mormonism was started in Haiti, and
By a voodoo queen.
yeah, exactly. Anyway, you got a good story to tell us?
Yeah. I'm just going to start with some bad news for atheists.
Oh no!
And this, thank you, Sarah, actually, for emailing us just before we started to record.
Yeah.
Because it brought this story. She sort of sent us this link, and it brought the story back to my radar. I had this one on my sort of opened. I keep Windows open.
Yeah.
And it was open, and then Chrome crashed, and so I lost it, and I forgot which ones I had open. But anyways, this one, Saudi Arabia has declared that atheists are terrorists. There's a new law that is meant to sort of crack down on political dissidents. And so there's some interesting things in the law. Actually, I guess some Saudis have gone and fought and have participated in Syria. So officially now, Saudi Arabia has made that illegal. You cannot go and participate in other countries'
civil uprisings or whatever.
Basically, yeah.
Okay.
Because what's happening is these guys go there, they get experienced in sort of in military or political exercises, and they are like, oh, well, we have a repressive regime here. Maybe we should think about overthrowing it, or at least this is their sense is like, oh, they're going to come back, and it's going to be destabilizing for us. Well, somehow on this list of things that is bad, like Article 1 or something like that was like, atheists are terrorists. It's like, wait, but you're...
Yeah, we are.
What did we ever do to you?
We terrorized
Saudi
them.
Arabia.
We've terrorized them. They're terrified.
I do have to say, I think
We should have
atheists seem like the least terroristic group. Like, we have no cause for terrorism.
No.
Unless it was like some kind of, political uprising.
I mean, every now and then we get
I'm sure there have been atheists involved.
a crazy here and there, but no.
Not as a movement.
No, by no means. I just like the... I mean, I think, we're an easy specter to raise sometimes.
Yeah. Scary people who don't believe in God.
Right, exactly. Well, we don't know anything about them.
They don't believe in Allah?
Yeah, exactly.
So screw you. Screw you, you terrorists.
Terrorists! If you don't believe.
Can we possibly just look at recent world history
Right.
as to like who's doing
Right,
terrorism
exactly.
where and for
Well,
what reasons and
it
what
does-
they believe. Like, could we please
It
look
does
at that?
smack a little bit of like, you know, they've heard one too many times from like European countries how big a terrorist the Muslims are, and they're like, we're not there, you're terrorists.
And
Fuck you.
What's the prevailing belief there? Oh, you don't believe.
The atheists, they are the terrorists. Fatwa.
And we're outlawing pastries too.
Right.
I don't know.
I don't know what that means.
I was trying to come with. Never mind.
Something French? Is that what you're trying to do?
It's kind
I
of,
see.
yeah.
Okay.
I'm sorry.
No, there will be no.
No croissant.
Look, but it's in the shape of a crescent.
Okay. No beignet. No beignet.
No pain de chocolat. But they're so good. I know, I hate it. Why is it so good? They're terrorist bread.
Oh,
all right.
That's
well,
terrible.
But you know what? I'm going to issue an official TGIA warning, which is that, like, if you are an atheist and you're out and proud, and your company, like, let's say that you're one of our Houston listeners who has oil company, who works for an oil company.
Who has oil company?
Who has oil company. Okay.
And
well, yeah.
this listener who has oil company, why are you not a donor?
Right. Well, that's true. That's true. You need to fund our whole thing if you have oil company. But if you don't have oil company, if you work for an oil company and they're like, hey, we're going to send you out to Saudi for something, you might want to decline. You're officially now, like, if you are an out atheist, you're officially, like, on a list.
But also, I mean, I would say that the zones that they have available for Westerners to live in Saudi Arabia, like, I'm pretty sure they get to go to church. They get to have, like, they get to live their Western life.
Absolutely.
And so, like, I think there's a lot of exemptions. Like, they're talking about their people on their streets.
Well,
and these zones that they set up, I don't know. I've never lived in one, but I talked to someone once who had spent some time in one. And so clearly I'm now an expert. But
right.
like, it did seem like she was really positive about their experience.
Sure. All I'm saying is, I mean, like, anyone can come to our country and worship as they please or whatever. But if someone's on a terrorist watch list and they try to come into our country, they will be flagged and they will be detained.
Yeah, that's true.
So we may be, I don't know. All I'm saying is have your company lawyers look into it.
That's not a bad idea.
Or something.
Yeah. Ask the question.
Ask the question.
That's important.
What you don't want.
Official TGIA warning to our listeners.
Ask the question. Don't go to a Saudi jail.
How about this as a good warning? Don't jump to conclusions.
Well, and one of those conclusions not to jump to is that you won't be arrested if you go to Saudi Arabia. Don't jump to that conclusion.
Don't.
Either. Yeah.
That's true. Yeah.
Have you ever heard of the organization World Vision?
No. What did they do?
It's an international aid organization. They go out and they do things like emergency relief and education in the third world and healthcare and that sort of thing.
Okay.
They're big.
I was thinking eyeglasses, but
No. Although maybe they do that too. But no, World Vision. They are a Christian organization. But they're big. They're like $1 billion nonprofit organization.
Wow, good for them. That's a lot of money.
So they recently caused a stir when they announced that they would allow employees to be in same-sex marriages. Can you believe it? Isn't that great?
What's their affiliation?
They're evangelical Christians.
No, that's not possible.
Well,
how did they do this?
They did it. And then guess what they did 2 days later?
They backtracked.
They completely reversed it.
Yeah, of course they did. Okay.
Well, I mean, it's amazing that they even went there.
Well, you know what?
It's amazing that was on the table.
Here's the deal. I think when you're a do-gooder, you get out into the world and you realize do-gooders are do-gooders and it really doesn't matter. And they probably just lost touch with their evangelical roots.
Well,
I'm serious.
Or
you get out into the world and you start rubbing shoulders, And these are the kind of things that start to break down, in my opinion.
Right. Well, they got
my experience.
I think I would phrase it differently. I would say it's less that they lost touch with their evangelical roots and more that they got in touch with their human roots.
Well, okay, yeah.
They literally were just like, oh, these gay people are just people.
Glass half empty, glass half full. Right.
I mean, literally, I read an interview with their president, who is a man named, he has a name. He's a guy.
Oh.
Where is his name?
So much information.
Yeah, I know. I'm just, Rich Stearns is his name.
That's a good name.
And
Rich Stearns.
You know, honestly, I'll be honest. Reading this interview, I just felt like, you know what? This is a sincere guy who just wants to make good things happen in the world. I mean, he's he's not making his fortune doing this, probably.
He probably gets paid pretty well.
He gets paid well. I'm guessing it's a 6-figure salary.
Probably,
But you know, he just struck me as a very sincere guy, not anti-gay. I mean, he says, "Do you have in the article? The interviewer says, do you have employees or members of the board who are worried about being perceived as anti-gay?" And he says, "Certainly that would be a concern. I certainly don't want to send a message to the gay community that we are anti-gay. We are not. We are pro-people."
Wow, okay.
So, I mean, I think that's a nice message. I mean, obviously, reversing this decision is problematic. But they had lost, like, almost 5,000. Because they're one of these ones that, like, the way you donate is you sponsor a kid.
Oh, yeah.
And so you pay $35 a month to sponsor a kid or whatever.
Right.
And he said that they lost, like, 5,000 people. Almost 5,000 people sponsoring.
When they announced that they were going to
allow gay marriage. And so they reversed it.
We missed a golden opportunity. We needed find 5,000 people to fill in that gap.
Right, yeah.
You know what I mean?
Exactly.
Like,
well, I mean, the thing is that it was 2 days. We had 2 days.
I know. I mean,
so
I'm not saying we as in you and me. I'm saying we as
a community.
Atheists and as people who believe in human rights.
Right. So, but anyway, I mean, I think that I just thought that it was an interesting. It's very disappointing that they reversed it. I get that. I mean, it's disappointing for me too. But I'm fascinated by the fact that this was on the table, that this was discussed in meetings, that this was that this made it through the bureaucracy and became policy before it was reversed.
Well, and
that to me says progress. That to me says something's happening.
It says progress at that organization, at least.
Yeah, but I mean, I don't think that an organization of that size can possibly be just an outlier.
What amazes me is that whoever was asked, who was ever raising their hand, saying, "Are we worried about what our supporters are going to think?"
Right.
That they weren't heard a little bit more.
Sure.
I mean, that's actually amazing to me.
Yeah.
And it does say that obviously the tide was going the other direction at that moment.
I think we're going to see a lot more of this. I mean, we have to. It's going to happen.
You're very helpful, Dan.
Well,
I think the tide is obviously moving in a very specific direction, but I think we're also going to see a lot of people, a lot of groups really starting to dig in their heels.
Right, but that's the death thrashing.
Yeah, no, it is. But you're right, we are going to see more organizations move this way, but we're going to see a serious entrenchment take place.
Yeah. Well, we're seeing it.
We're seeing it.
It's happening.
Yeah.
So,
it's fascinating. 10 years ago, 5 years ago, that organization never even would have tried.
No, it wouldn't even have been on the table. Yeah. This is what I'm saying. Yeah.
Interesting.
Well, there you go.
Wonderful.
Yeah.
All right. Well, I'd like to get to the Catholics.
Oh, good.
And specifically their leader.
Oh. Sister Wendy?
Pope Francis.
Oh, okay.
Francis. He people love, oh my God, Pope Francis.
That
they
very
love him.
liberal. Reforming.
He's a reformer. He's changing everything. And everybody, it's going to be rainbows.
And butterflies.
Butterflies and unicorns over there in the middle of Rome.
Pretty soon it'll be women priests, doing gay marriages left and right.
It's a brave new church.
Distributing condoms from the pulpit.
It's going to be amazing. Anywho, he in his general audience at the Vatican, whatever the fuck that is, he went on the record saying, when a man and a woman celebrate the sacrament of marriage, God is reflected in them. Okay, he told somewhere in the neighborhood of 45,000 pilgrims who had gathered in St. Peter's Square.
Whoa.
He says, as one flesh, they become living icons of God's love in our world, building up the church in unity and fidelity. The image of God is the married couple, not just the man, not just the woman, but both.
Huh.
So people are taking this as, the headline here says, Pope Francis says marriage between a man and a woman is icon of God's love.
Right.
And it's like, so, they're latching onto this and trying to find the importance.
Yeah, straight marriage.
Straight marriage.
That's
is what he said.
God.
Yeah.
Right there. Even if they're ugly, it's still a reflection of God.
Yeah.
What if they're ugly people? Does he really want God associated with really nasty looking couples? That's what I want to know.
Yeah.
Some juggalo wedding out there. That's a reflection of God. Pope Frank, really?
That's where you go to find truly ugly.
I don't know. That way I could make it about their stupid makeup and not about their actual selves. I don't know. Anyway, go ahead. Where were you going?
Where I'm going with this is people want this pope to be the non-Catholic pope.
Right.
And that's just not going to happen. And I just want to keep saying that no matter how much he's like, because like everybody's always like, what was it, last year sometime he was asked about something gay and he was like, who am I to judge?
Right. Yeah, he did say that.
Right. So everybody's like, oh my God.
He loves the gays.
And then the advocate makes him like man of the year or something, right?
Right, or something like that.
So they honored it, person of the year, right? Not man of the year, person of the year. And which is just insanity,
right,
to me.
Yeah. Well, it's just stupid.
Absolute insanity. People are jumping the gun with this guy because he is still Catholic. And until the day that he somehow succeeds, if it is even on his agenda,
right,
to change the Catholic definition of marriage, until that day happens, I'm sorry, the Pope's Catholic and it's the Catholic Church and it's conservative on these issues, and that's that. So I kind of just want it to fucking stop. I like the guy. I think he's doing good stuff for the Catholic Church.
Right.
But let's stop making him something that he's not.
Well, I think there is the question of, was the advocate trying to apply pressure? Was the advocate, or there's a lot of stuff there, and this may have been the Pope signaling, I'm not going to be able to do anything, like get those expectations in check.
Yeah,
that to me is what I read out of this, was like, any of you who are hoping for me to make a big sweeping policy change on this anytime soon, check it.
Yeah.
Because I can't.
Right.
Whether he wants to or not.
Right.
He
that's neither here nor there.
Right. It's nothing to do with it.
Because it's going to happen on a different timetable.
Right.
Than this is a 2,000-year-old organization.
Right.
Yeah.
It's it's 1,800 years old.
Oh, okay. Let's quibble. Let's totally quibble about how old it is.
No, but what I'm saying is that, you're exactly right. It's that old. It's that entrenched. They have made big changes over the centuries, but it's a process.
They don't let popes marry donkeys anymore.
Right. That's true, boy. Those early popes.
They were crazy.
Loved their barn animals.
I don't even know if that's true.
Of course it's not true.
They do love their barn animals?
Well, They love all of God's creatures.
Oh, okay. All right.
Except bats. They're terrified of bats.
Pipistrelli.
That's Italian for bat, y'all. I do love the fact that the word bat in almost any other language that I know is a horrifyingly long word to say. In German, it's Fledermaus.
Yeah.
So Batman, unless you just say Batman,
yeah,
it's Fledermausmann or Pipistrello uomo.
Yeah. Well, we also have a lot of single-syllable words in English.
It's good.
Probably more so than is common in others, I would say.
Well, maybe. I like that. I like single.
We have short words.
It's economic.
It is.
That's economy of language right there.
Yeah.
Anyway, speaking of using short words, I'm going to go to Mississippi.
That's their name is very long.
Yeah,
Dan.
it's true.
I would
It's
like to point that out.
It's probably the most syllabic state name that we have. I shouldn't be.
Somebody came up with that.
Yeah, exactly. Well, that somebody was a Native American, probably.
Shit.
Okay. Anywho, there's a new bill, and it's going to protect Mississippians.
Thank God. What is it protecting them from?
It's the Religious Freedom Restoration Act.
Oh.
Finally, there will be religious freedom in Mississippi.
Thank God.
Finally, the religious will have a shelter.
It had gotten pretty ugly.
For the longest time in
while.
Mississippi, it was like you couldn't even say the word God.
Couldn't go to church.
They wouldn't allow you.
Couldn't talk about God in school.
If you prayed, you'd end up in handcuffs.
Yeah. Oh, just a police state down there.
It really was. So, finally, some sanity is introduced in the form of a bill that's basically the same as the 1993 federal law that was struck down.
Oh?
Yeah.
Okay, fill us in a little bit here.
Well, okay. Basically,
what does the law say?
Basically, what it's trying to say, and the governor is signing the thing. It's happened. It passed everything. So, basically, this law just says if you have a religious objection to, say, letting some gay person into your establishment, well, you go right ahead. You kick them right the hell out.
That's not the country we live in.
Well, I think you could say that about a lot of parts of Mississippi. It's not the country you and I live in, that's for sure. I think
driving through the Delta was a little bit of an eye opener.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, we had positive experiences in Mississippi.
Oh, I liked Mississippi.
But it's definitely not like here.
Well, but then we also can't hold this place up as an example of what this country is.
No, it's remarkable because we live in a state that's even more politically to the right than Mississippi is. And yet,
there's more sanity?
It plays out so differently here. It plays out entirely differently in Utah than it does in these southern states.
I would say, though, that people in most parts of the country probably have a hard time seeing the real distinction that we see.
Yeah.
I'm just going to say.
It's probably true. You have to live here to know.
Yeah. Well, but we live in a very small little pocket of liberalism in the city of Salt Lake.
That's true.
But don't go into the burbs.
Oh, no.
The burbs are batshit crazy.
But they're not the same kind of batshit crazy.
No, they're just really conservative.
If a mosque opens up in the burbs of Salt Lake, in the burbs of Utah...
Oh, they'll bake them a cake and say welcome.
It's not the same. There will not be outcry and that sort of thing.
That's true. They're actually excited. Ooh.
Yeah. Oh, we get to meet new people.
Oh, how cute. I mean... Yeah.
They're wearing the headscarves. Oh, look, they're doing the thing with the head. Scarves.
Yeah.
They're doing it. Oh. I hope they don't go to the same school as my kids.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah,
but they
fascinating.
Keep it on the inside.
Yeah,
they don't express it out.
That's how the passive aggressive thing.
Right, exactly. Yeah. Passive aggression.
It's nice.
Yeah.
If you do happen to have to live in a very conservative place,
at least they shut up.
Or live in any area where the vast majority of people hate you
Right.
for you being different.
Right.
You want them to be passive aggressive.
Right. It's amazing. You know what? You know what's funny? Here's, by the way, to all of our Utah listeners, here's what I've discovered. If one of your Mormon friends is posting offensive shit on their Facebook page, let's just say, stuff about how gays are whatever and blah, blah, blah. If they're standard passive aggressive Mormons, all you have to do is comment semi-aggressively, not even aggressively.
Right.
Just comment, just take them to task for it publicly.
Yeah.
They'll stop posting it.
Yeah.
They can't handle the contention.
Oh, the contention.
They can't handle it. It's of the devil. So they will stop posting it. You can actually make Mormons stop doing things. It's great. I have shut down. I had a cousin, Andrea's cousin, had just come back from a mission, and on his mission he was like called to a Facebook mission.
Yeah, which
too.
they all are now.
Right.
Yeah.
So like he's posting all this obnoxious stuff. So I just start gently, not mean at all, nothing. You know, I'm not like accusing anybody of anything, just pointing out inconsistencies, asking questions that are like that are, because Mormons aren't supposed to question anything.
Right.
So if it comes from the pulpit, it's done.
Right.
So he would post, some general authority of the Mormon church, a video giving something, and I just watch the video and be like, isn't this inconsistent with this? And isn't this inconsistent with this? And make him answer, which he hates so much.
Right.
He has now stopped posting
how wonderful
Mormon stuff, or else he's blocked me, and either way, I don't give a shit. But I think he just stopped posting that stuff.
Yeah.
I think I just shut it down. Anyway, so
good you're doing some good work.
I am.
There, Dan.
I'm doing the Lord's work. That's how I feel.
Well, you're definitely not letting them get away with it.
Right. And that's and that's all. And I really advocate not being a dick. I really am a strong advocate for not being a dick, for finding ways of doing this that are loving, because I love these people.
Sure.
These are my friends and family. I love them.
Okay.
I don't need to be a jerk to them.
Right.
But just gently raising the questions that are enough to make a passive-aggressive person not able to handle it.
Good for you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's an art. I don't always get it right. Anyway, yeah, so the ACLU, of course, is not happy about this Mississippi ruling. I'm guessing it won't be long before it's in the courts. But for right now, at least, they can turn you away if they need to.
Bastard.
Anyway, what's next?
I have a very sad story.
Oh, no.
In Nepal.
Oh, no.
Apparently there is an annual communal setter for a Passover, right?
Oh.
In Kathmandu.
Oh.
That usually reaches about 1,000 guests end up showing up for it. Mostly Jews who are traveling through the region. They get the word out. Hey, we're having a communal Passover. Come on over. It's going to be fun, right?
That'd be an interesting way to celebrate a Passover.
It'd be fun.
I'd go to a Passover in Nepal.
Sure, why not, right?
Yeah.
However, this year, the whole thing is threatened because of a strike at the Israeli embassy, where they normally get all the supplies from.
What?
So like the
wait, who's striking?
The workers. They're
the Nepali workers?
No, the Israeli Foreign Ministry is on strike currently. And so embassies around the world aren't really providing their normal services, apparently.
Oh, okay. Weird. So this is back in Israel that this strike is happening.
Yeah, but it's affecting all the embassies.
Yeah, exactly.
So the embassies themselves, the workers are on strike. Okay? And so getting matzah is not really on
how do you do it,
right? And so they're worried they might have to make it themselves, and nobody knows how, apparently. But anyways, they are. It could be bad. It could be. They don't know what to do without the supplies.
Oh my God! Passover is ruined. They've ruined Passover.
I would say these Israeli embassy workers need to set aside some of their concerns for a day or two.
These are holidays.
And get some important matzah flown into the country.
Right. Just help us get that, and then go back to your whatever, to your quibbles.
I do find it strange that's the only supply route possible. I mean, it is Nepal.
I mean, where regionally are you going to get your matzah from?
I don't know.
I can tell you I didn't see matzah when I was in India. I can say I didn't see a single.
Were you looking for it?
I wasn't not looking for it.
Right. Okay, all right.
I wasn't trying not to find it.
Yeah. But anyways, they have some options available to them. They're possibly going to see if they can get small amounts of supplies packed in with travelers, like per person. Like see if they can somehow get like some kind of international like effort to get everything they need.
It's the stone
and I don't know
soup
everything that
sort
they need.
of way of looking at it.
I don't recall
the you don't remember the whole.
I remember
story of
stone soup
where they say he says I'm going to make a soup out of stone, and then other people bring in like, well, I had 2 carrots I can just throw in, and I had this, and then suddenly it ends up being a soup.
Oh, how cute! That's touching.
Yeah,
that's adorable. I didn't know that was a reference that people made.
Anyway, well, there you go. I guess Passover's ruined.
Yeah.
But I mean, Passover's more than just the food, right? You don't have to eat the right foods, do you?
No, I think that don't you have to you have to have a little bit of bitter root type thing. You have to have a little bit of this and a little bit of that.
Oh, right. There's like the categories.
Yeah.
Or whatever.
There's different little things that you eat. And I can't remember
like
everything.
An egg and like a parsley thing and a lettuce thing. Like there are all these things. It's actually not a culinary delight.
No,
it's actually it's kind of a culinary nightmare. But you're supposed to do it.
Isn't that most Jewish cuisine?
No, I like a nice latke.
Oh, I love latkes.
I like
fry sauce on your latke.
Oh, I've never done with fry sauce.
Oh, you got to try it.
These guys don't know what fry sauce is. Most of our listeners don't know the glories of fry sauce. That's a Utah thing. If you come into Utah and you don't try some fry sauce,
but I'm not sure if mixing
out.
Mayonnaise and ketchup is kosher. There might be some dietary concern there.
There is generally more to it than that.
Is that? Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Generally.
I know there's things you're not supposed to mix.
Oh, right. Yeah.
You know?
Right. Like
that's about all I know about it. Is that there are some things that one is not supposed to mix.
It's not the same
as
things. Meat and dairy. It's okay.
I don't know. I'm not sure what's in ketchup.
Right.
So.
Meat.
Or
there's meat in ketchup.
Or mayonnaise, to be honest.
Anywho, so I'm going to talk about another southern United States state, which is South Carolina.
Lovely place.
A bill has been struggling to make it through the South Carolina legislature. House Bill 4482. Okay. Really having a rough time of it. It was a little girl wanted this bill to pass.
Oh.
She's been campaigning for it for a while now.
Oh no.
It's to make the woolly mammoth the state fossil.
Cute. That's adorable.
Of South Carolina. Most states have a state fossil.
Really?
But there you go.
I did not. I didn't know that was a thing that states would have.
Yeah, I mean the whole symbolic state X or state Y is so weird to me anyway. But yes, this bill, known affectionately as Olivia's bill, struggled because senators and congressmen have been holding it up.
Oh no!
Because the real reason is because fossil means evolution.
Oh dear God!
So one guy tried to get an amendment into it. He got an amendment into it.
Oh no! This is something saying that it was in situ. Whatever.
This is State Senator Kevin Bryant, who he tried unsuccessfully to insert a Bible verse into the bill.
Oh my God!
Which he argued, it was tossed out. The amendment was tossed out because other lawmakers called it new and independent matter. But he said he thought that it was he thought it would pass muster as a logical extension of the bill. Quote, since we're dealing with the fossil of the woolly mammoth, then this amendment would deal with the beginning of the woolly mammoth.
Oh my God!
Because the verse that he wanted to do was from Genesis. It was, of
course it was.
And God said, "Let the earth bring forth the living creature after his kind, cattle and creeping thing, and beasts of the earth after his kind." And it was so, and blah blah blah
and
blah
dead
blah,
thing,
blah. Right?
And fossil thing,
right?
And its kind,
and after its kind. That it eventually evolved into something else, or then it was extinct.
The Lord. Did you watch Cosmos this week? Where it's like it puts the little dot where the Earth is in the Milky Way galaxy,
right?
And then it is like, and this is how far light travels in 6,500 years, and this is a little tiny circle. And he's like, that would be all the universe we could see.
Right? Exactly.
I was just like, I love.
He's going directly after these creationists.
It's like every episode has its like big dig, on creationism.
Well, not only did I watch that episode of Cosmos, I also went to his own planetarium in New York City and went and saw his new show there. I'm very fancy. Anyway, yeah. So then there was there were other amendments that were added. They're terrified of the concept of evolution. They even like in South Carolina, there's a whole thing about like how they now teach evolution in the schools, but they don't teach natural selection. They won't teach the natural selection part.
What?
That's their compromise. It's just crazy over there.
How does that even work?
Well, things evolve.
Isn't that the fundamental,
yes,
mechanism of evolution?
Yes.
The way that evolution happens?
Right. Yeah, State Senator Mike Fair, who's from Greenville.
This makes me crazy.
Serves on a panel that decides the science standards. And he said that natural selection should be taught as theory rather than as scientific fact. He argues clearly from a point of view of not knowing jack shit. That natural selection can make biological changes within species, but it can't explain the whole progression from microbes to humans. Quote, this whole subject should be taught as pro and con, he said. Which doesn't mean anything. No one seems to have pointed out to him that doesn't mean anything.
Right.
You can't teach something like that as pro and con.
Right.
It's either true, or it's either the best idea, the best information that we have currently, or it ain't.
Right.
And guess what? It is. Or Jesus. There's also Jesus.
Oh, that's a good one, too.
Don't forget about Jesus.
Yeah. Okay.
So there you go. It looks like the state fossil will become
the woolly mammoth. Or the woolly mammoth will become the state fossil.
Yes.
That's good. That's good.
Yeah.
You're good. It'll happen.
The Columbian mammoth.
Ooh.
Managed to survive.
They
didn't survive the Ice Age, but they survived the South Carolina legislature.
Oh, that's nice.
I wish I could come up with that. I didn't come up with that. That was USA Today's writer that came up with that one. Damn it. See how I can't even take credit?
Today.
I can't even take credit for a joke that I didn't write. That's the integrity that I have.
Yeah. But you were tempted to steal the joke of a USA Today writer.
I know. Isn't that gross? I literally
you were
started
scraping the bottom of the barrel.
I started to say it and then one up, but realized that I had already started. Like I was just sort of reading it on the thing, and I was like, don't tell that joke. Oh fuck, I'm in the middle of the joke now. I have to finish it.
Dan, this is rock bottom for you. Whatever rock bottom you needed to hit, this had better be it.
This is it.
This is it.
There it is.
It's all.
And look, there's a woolly mammoth down here at rock bottom. Anyway.
Wow.
We'll climb up out of the hole I just dug, and we'll move on. If you guys want to write to us about anything that you've heard, please do so. We're on the emails. If the inner tubes still work, and that's podcast@thankgodimatheist.com.
Or you could leave us a voicemail if you wanted to get in touch with us.
Oh, sure.
424-666-8442 is our number, and that is just a voicemail number. You call it, and recording plays, and you leave a message.
Yeah. Try to have all of your thoughts prepared so that you don't have to
We don't mind the second take.
No, you can call back
and
leave another one. Yeah. As long as just try and keep it concise. We don't, don't ramble the way we do. We're the only ones who get to ramble on our show. You have to be to the point.
Or, of course, you can also look at our Facebook page at facebook.com/TGIAtheist. Mackenzie's always updating constantly. And it's a lot of fun, and that community just keeps growing. So
yes.
If you like us, then those posts will possibly show up in your newsfeed.
It'd be great.
But you kind of have to also
interact.
Get on there. It won't show up as much as you might like.
Yeah, comment.
Unless you actually interact.
Comment, share.
Liking is easy.
Liking is super easy, but sharing is caring.
Yeah. And sharing, if you share a post, you might win a t-shirt.
Could lead to free clothing.
Merch. Yeah. So you should totally check us out on Facebook. Yep. All right. We're going to take a quick break.
Yes.
And this, Dan, do you want to set it up? You picked it out.
It's just a preacher preach, and this was sent in to us by a very kind listener whose name I don't know because I don't have it here.
Well, what a wonderful personal.
Well, you just set me up without me being prepared.
Well, and I was just trying to buy some time while I clicked on the link so it would open. That's all I was doing.
We are a professional organization, people.
And it's still not open.
But the Bible says in 1 Timothy 2:11, let the woman learn in silence with all subjection. But I suffer not a woman to teach, nor to usurp authority over the man. Now, flip over, if you would, to 1 Corinthians chapter 14. It says, let your women keep silence in the churches, for it is not permitted unto them to speak. But they are commanded to be under obedience, as also saith the law. And if they will learn anything, let them ask their husbands at home, for it is a shame for women to speak in the church. It says in 1 Timothy 2:11, let the woman learn in silence with all subjection. So therefore, obviously, before the service, before the congregation begins the service, there's chatting and talking going on. That's perfectly legitimate. And then when we all sing praises to God, of course the ladies should also lift up their voices and sing praises unto God. But wait a minute, when it's learning time, it's silence time. See what I mean? So what it's saying is that they are to learn in silence. And that's why it talks about in 1 Corinthians 14:35, also what we just looked at, it says, if they will learn anything. It says when the learning is going on, they're not permitted to speak. When the learning is happening, they're to be inside. When the preaching of God's word is taking place, first of all, it's not for a woman to be doing the preaching. And second of all, it's not for women to be speaking. Even, the Bible's really clear on this, even if they were to have a question, they're not to ask that question in the church, number one. And number two, even if they want to ask that question to their husband, they should wait until they get home. They should not, in the service, be talking. And by the way, this is why I don't believe that women should say amen during the preaching either. Simply.
Wait a sec. Not even amen?
No, that's brilliant. I don't think that women should say amen in church either. Because amen means I agree with that. And I think...
And that's not falling in the same category as praising God. that's like a teaching.
I'm pretty sure women shouldn't say amen to what this guy has to say anyway.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. Well, the Bible had some good things going for it. I actually love this because I love it when Christians actually believe what they believe. When they actually they go with the Bible law and actually act out the ridiculousness.
But I want this guy, he had better be stoning people.
Well,
he'd better be he needs to be doing the whole thing. Sorry.
No, he's still picking and choosing just like the rest of them.
Then he's not a literalist.
None of them are.
Right.
They're all liars.
He is.
Right.
He thinks he's one of the most cutting edge literalists.
He just wants women to shut up. That's all he wants.
He hates women. It's like, shut up, wife.
Damn it. Why do you keep having opinions? I told you not to have opinions.
Wife, you need to shut up.
Have my opinion. I'll tell you what my opinion is, and you have that. It'll be good. You can ask me questions when we get home.
I said no talking in church. None of it.
Don't even say amen. I hate your voice. Don't even. Oh, good Lord.
What?
Well,
what?
A few women decided that it was okay for them to write into us.
What?
How dare they? What?
I just want to know what his experience was. What happened to him?
Oh, that poor boy. He was henpecked.
He probably was. He had older sisters.
He had an overbearing mother,
and four
older sisters
and no brothers.
And finally, enough was enough.
He was like, silence!
Everyone, God says shut up.
I am the man here.
Wow, he's gotten very gay all of a sudden.
Well, I don't know if you know it, but his voice has this kind of... I thought it had this kind of quality to it.
Yeah, there's...
Maybe not the sibilant S's. He wasn't doing that.
Right.
But he was... Yes, but he...
Do you get a vibe off him? Does the gaydar go off a little bit?
Mildly. That's why I went there.
There you go.
Yeah.
There you go.
Yep.
Women, just shut up. Just shut up. Men.
La 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 la. Like,
you men can talk all you want. I just love hearing the sound of a masculine voice.
Say amen again.
Keep saying amen.
Yeah.
Because it's got the word man right in it.
Amen.
That's what gay meetings need to have. As long as they're not lesbians there.
Yeah. Yeah, well, you don't want to hear from the lesbians. Let me tell you. Silence, lesbians!
The Lord said, be quiet.
Listen, we're a very progressive church. We're fine with you being here, and we will even, bless your union. But shut up!
But don't talk. You're not allowed to talk here. It's learning time, ladies.
So shut your yappers.
Oh boy. Okay, well, we had a bunch of people write in and call in, so we're gonna get to as much of it as we can.
It was a busy week, wasn't it?
It was a busy week. Al wrote in talking about. We did the story about the Muslims who were kicked out of the Empire State Building because they prayed.
Yeah.
Up at the top there.
Right.
And they're suing for some ungodly amount. Anyway, Al wrote in and said, just a quick comment on Muslims praying in public, up in a tower or down in a well. It would appear that the work of deciding where a Muslim is allowed to pray has already been done by them. Done by them. Okay. Mosques are decidedly not public access, and even letting the men pray within sight of the ladies of the same faith is too much for them. Unless they are about to open up the doors of the mosques like most other faiths, their position is clear, and so is mine. Keep it to yourself.
I've been in a mosque, Dan.
Yeah, Al, we don't know where you're coming from on this, because we've both been to mosques. We've both seen Muslims praying.
Yeah, and my experience at the mosque that I went to out here in Salt Lake was, with a female student of mine who was Muslim, and so she had contact with the imam, and I mean, it was actually really laid back. It was like, oh yeah, just take your shoes off, and she was even allowed into the section that's normally just for men.
Yeah,
like so that she could film them praying and whatnot. But
they do segregate men.
They
and
do
women
segregate
in the mall.
That is
or in the mosque rather. But
yeah,
but you can totally go in there. I was in a mosque in India and walking around while guys were praying, and just sort of I'm looking up at the architecture while they're praying, and I'm sort of meandering my way through them.
Yeah.
So Al, I'm not sure I know where you're coming from on that, but thanks for writing in.
We do
anyway.
We should probably play Sparkle Darkles.
Yes.
Sparkle Darkle Ponies.
Sprickle Sprackle Pony called in
because he's going along on the same topic.
Right.
So let's just hear what he says.
Hello, Dennis, Frank, Second Dan. It is your old buddy, People Like a Pony. I'm listening to 123, and you guys were just talking about the Wilson family that was escorted out of the Empire State Building. And there's a piece of this. I know I'm a little behind time right now. I've been a little bit busy trying to catch up on a whole bunch of podcasts. Yes, I don't listen to just you guys. Shut up. Anyway, the funny part about the mention about the two rights, freedom of speech and freedom of religion, the funny part that you guys mentioned about that, I don't think anybody had mentioned also that this is public property. The Empire State Building, to the best of my knowledge, is private property. So if they want to tell people, we don't want you in for whatever reason, I don't think they've got any kind of obligation to let them stay or pray or whatever the case may be. Of course, if you open it up for one group, say, okay, we'll let you pray, you then open it up to everybody else and every one of their kooky things that they feel that they are entitled to do for whatever reason. I don't believe that the Satanists have the thing on the book somewhere where part of their thing is to piss off the side of a building, but, if you allow, the Muslims to pray, maybe they have to piss off the side of the building. Just a thought. Have fun, stay warm, or whatever it is out there, because we're in a cold freeze again up here in Buffalo. Till later. Bye-bye.
Thanks, Sparkle.
Thanks for the call. You make an interesting point. The whole whether or not a private entity is allowed to discriminate. Yeah. And granted, I may be going with you on this, because it's not discrimination to have a rule in place that people don't pray.
Right, across the board.
Yeah.
Boom. Nobody gets to pray at the top of the Empire State Building.
Right. That's fine. Please don't do anything religious here. You can come, you can look, and I mean, as we learned from this isn't Mississippi. Right. So they can't discriminate based on religion, but they can make a rule that this isn't the place for praying, I'm sure.
I would think so.
But you're right. I mean, it's not a public place. It's right. Privately owned.
But at the same time, when you open a space to the public at large,
right, you're not allowed.
You do have to be fair in the rules that you establish. Right. That they're enforced across the board.
It'll be interesting to see how that whole thing plays out.
Yeah.
But
there was one point. Okay, Mr. Pony. And this actually goes for everybody.
We're not trying to pick on you.
Right. There are a lot of voicemails that we get that we just can't play because of garbling.
Right.
Because the message, we just can't make it out.
Reception's not great or whatever.
Somebody calls in on their cell phone and we just can't really... We can hear it, but we don't want to play it because you kind of have to just sit there and kind of force yourself to figure it out. So... when you call in, we want to play your voicemails.
Right. We want to. So find a nice quiet place. This is just a pro tip. Find a nice quiet place. Make sure you've got a few bars on your cell phone. But the best absolute thing is to use a landline. Yeah.
If you can call us on a landline, that's fantastic. But we do get that we don't have a 1-800 number.
Right.
And so your cell phone can call us and it's no extra charge.
Right.
So.
But if you're, for whatever reason, Sprickle Sprackle Pony, a lot of your calls when they come in, the sound is rough. I don't know if you're using
garbled.
I don't know if you're using a headset or something.
Maybe, but it's also
just look into it. That's all.
I don't know what you're doing, but it always breaks up when you say whatever you're saying your name is.
which I think now he's taken to just calling himself Sprickle Sprackle Pony or whatever. Anyway,
which is amazing.
The point is we like what you have to say and we want to hear it.
Yeah,
that's all. Nick wrote into us. You remember Nick? Nick was the young feller who wrote in and asked us about drugs, and we talked about it a little bit. He wrote in to say thanks, and he didn't think that we made fools of ourselves. In what we said, so that's
good.
nice.
High praise.
Indeed. He also wanted to know, he said that he was recently digging through a VHS collection. I'm shocked that he's heard of VHS, but there you go.
Yeah. Okay.
But he found some animated Bible movies that he watched when he was a kid, and he went back and rewatched them. And he said that he saw them basically as, in sort of in the same light as a Greek mythology or whatever, and that he enjoyed it. And he wondered if we think that the stories in the Bible, as well as those from other religions, can or will ever be regarded just as mythology, the same way the Greek religion does. And would we want this to happen?
Sure, why not?
Yeah, I mean, I think the stories are... the thing about religious stories and religious mythos is that it's, generally speaking, my mom had done a lot of study of classical mythology and that sort of thing, and she has a great love of it. Right. When we went to India together, she was reading the Mahabharata and sort of learning about the ancient Hindu stories and stuff.
Wow.
And she would tell me about them, and I would get bored so quickly. I just don't think they're good stories. I mean, she was reading like there was one story that was I don't know, pages long, chapters long, and it just never ended. And it was about this one battle that, if one person wasn't killed by sundown, then everything was going to fall apart or whatever. And they went, and it just kept the sun would not go down. Just new battles kept cropping up. Wow. And I was just like, sun, go down. Right. When does this story end?
Right.
So I don't know. I don't think that, ancient tales are always interesting.
No.
Some of them are. I mean,
sure.
Aronofsky seems to think that Noah tale is interesting enough to make a movie out of it.
Right.
Though he had to change some things.
Right. Well,
but I mean, it's all mythos. It's all mythology. It's all sort of there.
Yeah. But as far as the question of would I want it to become just like any old other mythology? Absolutely.
Oh, yeah.
For people to actually, in the general population, not be offended by you saying that the Bible is mythology.
Right.
Yeah, that'd be awesome.
I think we're looking at centuries from now.
Yeah, sure.
But I mean, I think it will. Christianity, all of these sort of dogmatic religions will eventually, maybe thousands of years, fade into mythology.
Things come and replace them, and things evolve and turn into other things. Yep. And so, yeah, something will happen.
It'll happen.
Sooner
eventually.
or later, something will happen.
Anyway.
Mormonism will.
Yes, exactly. All right. Thanks for writing in, Nick. Kelly wrote in. This was cute. She just said she was commenting on the Westboro Baptist Church, Fred Phelps dying. She said she wanted to relate her story. She says, I was getting ready to testify in a quadruple homicide that had a homosexual aspect, which drew Westboro Baptist Church's attention. WBC got the dates of the trial wrong and showed up a week early when no one was around to see them.
That's awesome.
She says, it was then that I saw my favorite sign, God wants to take you to a gay bar. Was that a WBC or was that a protester?
Would be a protester, probably, of
the WBC.
Yeah.
Anyway, I think that's delightful. Thanks for sharing that. Kim also wrote in. She said, I'm a new listener. She loves. She's going through the old episodes and she's enjoying that. She says your idea of a Pope-themed Scooby-Doo mystery series is one of the funniest things I've heard in a long time.
Oh,
which
I forgot about that.
I think we should make a cartoon.
Yeah, someone has to make it though.
Like, wow, Francis. Hey, gang, get in the Pope-mobile. Rah, Rope-mobile. Hee-hee. It was just an excuse for me to do my Scooby-Doo.
It really was. Did you write yourself that email?
I did. No, Kim wrote it, and we had more to say. She said...
Kim. Who's Kim?
I don't know, Kim.
No, okay.
Kim, our writer. Kim who
no,
wrote
I know.
This.
But, I'm trying to figure out who is this Kim. Do you know this Kim?
No.
Okay.
No. She says she was raised Mormon, and everyone in her family are active believers. And she said, I want to challenge you on what you said on your latest podcast about Mormons not taking the Noah story literally. Almost all Mormons I know do, and it fits right alongside with the Jaredite story in the Book of Mormon. Just the other day, I was visiting with my mom and my older sister. She had been listening to the Book of Mormon audio on her walk. She was, quote, blown away by how long the Jaredites had to stay in their capsules with the animals and supplies for blah, blah, blah days. She says she can't remember the number, but she thinks it was 300 or so. We need to explain who the Jaredites are. Do you remember this little story?
Okay, so toward the end of the Book of Mormon, there's this other whole story that just is inserted in there about the people who inhabited the Americas before the Nephites and the Lamanites, but who had completely wiped themselves out and destroyed themselves, and there were no remnants of.
Right.
And
but there's this whole story about them having
the Jared and the brother of Jared. The brother of Jared was the prophet.
Right.
And Jared was his brother.
But he had a ridiculous name, so they just kept saying
Moronhai Moriander Coriantimer.
Mahanrai Moriankimer, I believe is the.
Yep.
But yes, coriander is the actual. Anyway, they were in these weird boats for a long time. Not unlike Noah,
right?
Theoretically,
right.
This, of course, did not happen because it's from the Book of Mormon, which, like the Bible, is fiction.
Right. But that the Book of Mormon is the it's a work of one man.
Yes.
It's the fiction that one man wrote down.
Right.
Whereas the Bible is
a hodgepodge.
It's a melange.
It's a mess, is what it is. Anyway, Kim, thanks for making that connection for me because I hadn't connected that. But yes, of course, Mormons do take the Book of Mormon as being all entirely literally true.
Yeah.
Whether or not they take the Bible to be so, they will take the Book of Mormon to be
that is true.
So there's no reason why they couldn't believe.
And I guess I was speaking more of my own personal thing.
Yeah.
Anyway, there are plenty of them that do. Yeah.
Anyway, and then finally Sarah wrote in. She said, "Guys, I know I love you, but I want to argue with you about one thing. In your report on the BYU groper, you implied that with the amount of sexual repression at the Y, some of it is bound to bubble up in antisocial ways. I think it's important, however, to remember that sexual assault is not about sex per se, but about power. This person might be getting his jollies specifically from horrifying the sexually restrained women of BYU, but his actions are not an expression of sexual frustration. They are a means for him to feel powerful by abusing and subjugating other people." I think that
very good point.
There's no way to improve on what she just said. Yeah. It's exactly right.
Then we'll move on.
Ta-da! We have some more voicemails, right?
We do. We have a nice one from Arlena. She kind of chimes in about going to church on Easter and some of her thoughts about all that kind of stuff.
Hey guys, this is Alina from Texas. I've called before. I was calling because I just had a long conversation with my mom, who's a believer, and I was raised, in church, and she was hounding me about Easter service, and will I go with her to Easter service? Usually I give in on these things and go for Christmas, New Year's, sometimes Easter, and I told her I don't need to go. You go just to see kids pick up eggs. You don't need me there for that. And we ended up having a long conversation about my disbelief and her belief, and we're very respectful. But at the end, she's always really sad. And she said to me, it just makes me so sad because I wish she believed. And I told her that I struggled to fit belief in logic for such a long time. And I'm at peace with my disbelief. Not even disbelief, but non-belief. It's not that I believed and I had to prove it wrong. It's that I never had to believe in the first place. And that in not believing, I feel at more of a peace. Just like she feels a great peace in knowing that there's some person in the sky smiling at her, and no matter what, she gets to go to heaven. And at the end of the conversation, she was so depressed, and I told her, look, I'm right, and there's no such thing. And nothing happens when we die, and it's okay. Or you're right, and there is a such thing, and there's two roads to that. So let's say God exists, and he's vengeful, and he likes rules. And you must follow the commandments and believe exclusively in him and forget all other religions, and in which case I go to hell. But you probably do too as a believer, because that God loves rules and every commandment and every this and that. And maybe the Catholics are right and you didn't say enough Hail Marys, goodness, because we're Methodist. In which case you go to hell. Or the other God exists, in which case he cares what kind of a person you are. Are you a good person or a bad person? Do you live your life to improve the earth? Do you do things in an altruistic way because you want to and not out of some great fluffy angel wings? I said, if that's the case, then I go to heaven too. So as a non-believer, you should take comfort in the fact that I'm doing things in the world that improve the planet, that are good for myself, make me happy, make others happy, and I'm not hurting or murdering people. And even though it's not for the reasons that you're not, at the end of the day, we're both good people, and you will see me in heaven. So I just thought about that, and I was also wondering what you guys thought about, upcoming Easter and this and that, and about us poor people who have to go with Christian family. And I don't have to go, but it makes her so happy, and whatever. It's an hour out of my day. If I wanted to force her to go to some movie or something, I could, out of revenge. But I hope you guys are having a good one out in the SLC.
Oh, thank you.
Thanks, Alina. Yeah, the whole going to church thing is just a problem. I mean, I have to go when the nieces and nephews have their baptisms or whatever. I'm expected to go to those things, and
this is the benefit of living 1,000 miles away from your family.
Right, yeah.
Because you don't have to deal with it.
Right.
You don't. Oh.
Bong.
You don't.
That was a mic stand issue there.
Yeah.
I don't know. Great. Good points you made to your mom. Well done.
Yeah, nice. And then we have one more, and this is from Jesse, and he talks about leaving religion and his experience with it.
Hey, Frank and Dan. It's Jesse from Denver. I've loved your show, and I've been having a little trouble, and I wanted you guys' perspective. When I was a little kid, I was indoctrinated pretty heavily into Assemblies of God theology, and I was pretty isolated at the time and didn't have any influences outside of religion, so the indoctrination sunk in pretty deep. I was full of fear of hell, powerful fear of dying, and I knew I couldn't be a Christian, so it was a complete paradox in my head. And I used to have terrible nightmares about being in hell, and I would dream about Jesus just staring at me full of hatred. It was a lousy way to spend a childhood. Anyway, when I got through puberty, I stopped believing in God, and I lost my fear of hell, but not that fear of death. It was too powerful. So I sort of searched around and checked out different religions and ended up finding one that seemed to suit me. And it was definitely a non-Christian religion, but in order to participate in a religion, you have to engage in religious services and ceremonies. And I still didn't really believe in this new religion, and it caused me a lot of anxiety, a lot of stress. And in order to cope with that stress of, basically feeling like a phony liar, I came up with weird routines that would lessen that nasty sensation, but fill me with depression instead. So it was one or the other, and so I chose. Anyway, finally, after over 10 years, I left that religion last October, and it's, hooray for me. Like it was like, the cliche of the weight being lifted off and all that. And I finally found a good job for once in my life, and things are going my way. I have a lot of plans and projects for the future that I'm working on, but that depression, that old coping mechanism kicks in, even though the stressor of the religion is gone, and I don't know how to deal with it. Usually I just get busy, go out for a bike ride or take the dogs out or work on something, and 5 minutes later I'm not depressed anymore, but sometimes it's more like having a cold. It just sits on me and I can't shake it no matter what. So I was just wondering, is this something that you guys have experienced, like old stressors from your religious days kick in, or is it common? What do you do? Like, obviously I'm not going to go see a doctor because I spent way too much time. Any insight you guys could share would be great. Thanks.
There's a lot to unpack there, and we're not going to be able to sort of get to all of it, but I think the fundamental question is you're depressed.
Yeah.
I get depression. Yeah. I've been depressed.
Yeah, same here.
The thing about the fact that religion's tied into this makes it confusing and that much more complicated and all of that sort of thing.
Yeah. The first thing though, Jesse, I mean, I totally applaud the recognizing that you're feeling depressed and trying to do something about it.
Absolutely.
Getting out of the house, going for a walk, getting your mind off of it, physical exercise, physical activity helps a lot. But if it keeps coming back, if you keep returning to it and it's a problem, I mean, you kind of stopped yourself when you were talking about not wanting to go see a doctor.
Yeah, I'm not sure.
Moved on.
What that was
didn't
about.
Explain that, but like, I would highly suggest you go and talk to your doctor. Just go to your general practitioner.
What's the worst that could happen? I mean, you try a drug for a couple weeks and
it
you
works
know,
or doesn't work.
You try it for as long as you need to give it a fair shot.
Yeah.
Approach it as a scientist.
Yeah.
Approach it as an experiment.
Yeah.
Does this help? If not, you get to stop.
Because depression it's
debilitating.
Yeah. Well, it's also physiological.
Yeah, exactly.
You know,
it's a chemical thing.
It's a chemical thing, and there's no shame or no problem in just going and getting help.
Right.
And I mean, I don't know. That's kind of where I would want to start with it. But then beyond that, man, I get where you're coming from.
Yeah.
I think those of us who grew up in really religious and very conservative households, we have a lot of mourning of our childhood that we have to get through.
And it's not just that. There are fear structures
Uh-huh.
that are put in place into our brains, and what we're talking about is literally like structures in your brain, pathways, neural pathways that have been programmed.
Well, they taught you how to think.
Right.
They taught you to think that way.
And deprogramming that is not a fast, easy process.
It takes years.
So, I hate to suggest it because you sound resistant to this sort of thing, but it might be that a little bit of cognitive therapy would be helpful.
What's the organization?
Secular Therapist Alliance, something along those lines.
Yeah,
it could be a great resource for you. They're they're guaranteed to be secular therapists who will be sensitive to religious needs or
non-needs.
Right, the needs of those of the formerly religious. Let me just look that up because I want to be sure. But I mean, I think that you could. Try something that works for you. We're not trying to tell you what will work for you, but I can testify that cognitive therapy worked for me. That psychotherapy was very helpful for me.
Mm-hmm.
And I know lots of people who have tried drugs that have been very helpful for them.
Yeah.
So yes, the Secular Therapist Project is at www.seculartherapy.org.
Mm-hmm.
You go there, you click on Find a Therapist. Their whole mission is just to link people up with therapists who are link secular people up with secular therapists.
Yeah,
that's all they do.
Yeah,
they'll find one in your area, and if they don't have one in your area, then they'll just tell you that.
Yeah.
So I don't know. It won't hurt you. All it is just trying something new.
Yeah,
that's all it is. You don't need to worry about a stigma. You don't need to worry that they're going to mess with your brain or anything because you're just trying something new. And it sounds like what you've been trying hasn't been working.
Yeah.
So just try something else.
Well, it's worked a little, but it hasn't worked enough.
Right.
Yeah.
It's not going to hurt you.
Yeah.
But whatever you do, we wish you the best.
Absolutely.
And congrats on getting out of the other religion.
Absolutely.
I mean, if it wasn't helping, if the pain was still there, then good. I'm glad you left.
And let us know how you are.
Yeah.
Check back in.
Keep in touch. We want to hear from you.
All right. Donors, Dan.
We have some donors. Some people have given us money, and we really appreciate that, including Chandra, who was very generous. And I just want to say thanks. And she sent a message along with it. She says, I live in the Bible Belt of Arkansas. Yikes.
Ugh.
That yikes was hers. That was not my yikes.
No, I know. My was mine.
Right, indeed.
Because I've been through Arkansas.
She says, y'all are a breath of fresh air. Thanks for keeping me laughing and feeding my soul, Chandra. Well, Chandra, thank you for feeding our faces with food. We might eat food.
Yeah, why not?
With that money.
We could go do something.
David also gave us a one-time donation. Thanks a lot, David. We really appreciate it. If you want to donate to us, the new website's still under construction, but it's there. You can donate.
Yeah.
So go to thankgodimatheist.com and find the support button and click it. And ta-da, you've supported us. It's as easy as that.
And there are options. You can be a monthly supporter or a one-time. supporter as well.
Right. We try to make it as easy as we can.
Or you could buy a T-shirt.
Yeah. These are all available.
Yay.
Anyway, so, Frank.
Yes. Well, we talked about it. I found my patriarchal blessing.
So let's just really briefly go over the theology here. This is Mormon shit that we're about to delve into. What you're about to hear about is something that every Mormon person is expected to go at some point.
This is available to them. Yeah.
When the time is right.
Culturally, there's a lot of emphasis placed on this thing, but it's a strange thing because it does kind of exist in this weird nether region, right? So there's this idea of like getting, like, Mormons love to give blessings, right?
Yes.
You get sick and your dad comes in, he puts his hands on your head, and he, like, if he's a priesthood holder,
drizzles some oil
puts
on
a little oil on you, and he blesses you to get better.
Yes.
Right. Like, so they Mormons have this tradition of like faith healing, but they also totally do medical intervention.
Right.
Right.
Yeah.
They don't do one like you'll see these blessings being done at the hospital.
At the hospital, right?
You know,
it's sort of it's an aid.
Yeah. It's you get God doing His part. Man can do his part. Science can do its part,
and then
God can get in the mix there somewhere.
Right. That's
just help the whole thing. Just the oil helps lubricate the whole process.
Right.
But
what's weird is that there's this so there's the blessing thing, but then there's this other thing.
So this is so we've talked about the way that the church is structured with, you have your local unit, which is your ward. That's where you go to church every Sunday. And then you have your larger grouping. You have your grouping of wards, which is a stake. And every stake has its patriarch.
Right.
And a patriarch is an older man, typically, who you can set up an appointment with after you talk to your bishop. I think you have to go through your bishop first.
Right.
But nonetheless,
this is usually teenagers that are doing this.
Usually people sort of on the cusp of adulthood, or if you waited for whatever reason,
anybody can do it.
Anybody can do it at any time, but you get one, typically. You get one patriarchal blessing.
You only get one shot at this.
Yeah. And so you need to prepare yourself, and a lot of people will maybe like fast, to like make sure they're really spiritually in tune.
I took this shit so goddamn serious. I look back and I just want to like look at me as a kid, because I went to the bishop and I was so excited, and I was like, I'm ready for it. I'm ready. And he was like, okay, let's set it up. And we got it set up, and I was like, I can't believe it's happening. I'm so excited. And I went, and you go over to this old person's house, and it smells like old people.
Yeah.
And you get in,
and usually his wife is there.
She's recording it. She's got the microphone, and this was back in the late 80s, maybe early 90s. I guess early 90s, and so it was a tape recorder.
Yeah, it's probably just their iPhone now.
Yeah, exactly. And so they set up the tape recorder with the microphone.
Oh, so nice.
And you sit down in the chair.
Yeah.
And this old dude walks up behind you, and it feels a little creepy, and he puts his hands on your head. And he says words to you. And these words are meant to be,
this is your life.
Your life path.
He lays it all out for you.
This is shamanism right here. This is psychic powers. This is big stuff. So
it's big stuff. So anyways.
So
I think we've set the stage.
Okay.
But you do go with your family. Your parents want to be there.
I went alone.
You went alone?
I went alone.
You were a weird one. Okay.
I didn't. Anyways, I don't know that I knew.
I excluded your mother from this.
Oh, she didn't care. She didn't want to. My mom would probably have been happy, like that I wanted to have this sort of private experience. My mom probably would have dug that.
Really?
Yeah.
Interesting. All right.
But also I was frequently oblivious to how things were supposed to work. Like I would miss part of the concept.
Right.
So I probably just thought I had to go alone.
Oh, right. Okay. So
there,
I want to go. I want to walk
Frank.
through. Okay, but now I want to go to yesterday.
Oh, okay. Right.
And like I said, I was just trying to empty out a box so I could use it.
Right.
And lo and behold, I pull it out, And I had this really weird reaction to it. Because my first reaction was, holy shit, I don't have to ask my mom someday for this thing. And so I was super excited. And then I was like, oh, ew, gross.
You got the creeps?
I got the creeps. I totally got the creeps from it. And then I was like, oh, I don't want to read it. And then I was like, no, you're letting it have power over you. Like, not reading it is like, and letting it be creepy is totally just letting it still have power. And so I went upstairs and I sat down at my desk and I was like, okay, all right. And I started reading through it and I was just in awe of how general and non-specific and just hokey the whole thing is. And I was just like, oh my God, this is so dumb. So I will be posting my whole patriarchal blessing on the blog.
Yeah.
That's my,
Good.
I'm going to have, you don't, like, I'm going to do a little blog entry about it and you don't have to read the whole thing. But if you want to, like, if you want to experience, like, maybe you're an ex-Mormon and you just want to, like, hear the words of someone else's to know just how, like, hear all the words that are echoed in yours.
But Frank, we need you to read a little bit of it.
Okay.
In patriarchal voice.
No, I don't want to do that. I don't want to do it in the voice.
Everybody loves the voice. Okay. Well, but give us a taste. Give us a taste of what this thing is.
I'll do for the first little bit in patriarchal voice, and then I'm going to pull some stuff out.
Okay.
So we have Frank Henry Feldman IV. By virtue of the holy Melchizedek priesthood and office of patriarch which I hold, I lay my hands upon your head, and as the Lord shall direct, give unto you your patriarchal blessing to be a comfort, benefit, and guide to you throughout your life, in accordance with your faithfulness. And that's the key thing, and this is said in probably all of them, which is it's about your faith. It's how worthy are you living your life?
That's
These things will happen if you've been righteous. And Mormons are just guilt-ridden people.
Right.
They all are masturbating and feel bad about it. So that's the way out for any of this.
Right. Exactly.
Oh, that time I masturbated.
I ruined my own patriarchal blessing. God's hands are tied.
Yeah.
He can't give these gifts
everything
to me because I jerked it.
Right. And so there are things that all patriarchal blessings have. One of them is this pronouncement of your lineage.
Right.
Right.
Oh, yes.
Your spiritual lineage.
Right. What tribe are you of?
Yeah.
Literally, so it's like
which tribe of Israel?
This is the 12 tribes of Israel, and we're all of, like, possibly people from the same family could be of different tribes because it's a spiritual tribe.
But
now, usually,
most white people are of Ephraim.
All white people. I mean, come on.
Yeah. It's really weird that any other... But anyways.
Right.
So it says, you are heir to your inheritance blessings through the lineage of Ephraim, the son of Joseph, who was sold into Egypt. They are choice blessings, and shall continually be increased unto you throughout your life, as you prove yourself worthy, like every other worthy white person.
Right, exactly.
You get all the same blessings that all the other white people
get. Mind you, if you don't get Ephraim, you'll still get the same language about how worthy and how great and how fun all the blessings are and whatever.
So you get the white privilege.
Yeah, exactly. You get all the you can hail a cab at will. That's one of the blessings of the family of Ephraim. Oh, good
God.
Lord. Yeah. So you got to understand, like, I'm just going to go back to my experiences real quick, because I sat there, the old guy, I'm ready for him to say, I want to be special. First of all, I wanted to be special.
Yeah.
So I didn't want to be Ephraim. I was hoping
for Manasseh.
I was hoping for Aaron.
Oh.
If you're of the tribe of Aaron, which no one ever is, then, like, you're suddenly powerful. Like, you get to be a bishop.
Yeah.
Like, right off the bat. If you're a man and you're of the tribe of Aaron, you're automatically a bishop for no apparent reason.
Right, but it doesn't mean you have a ward.
No.
It just means that you're a bishop.
You're just a bishop. So what do you do with that? I mean, I'm sure there has never been someone of the tribe of Aaron.
I would think that the guide for the patriarchs, right, this little pamphlet that they get, says, under no circumstances will you
Unless
pronounce somebody a member of the tribe.
God himself appears in the flesh before you and goes, Aaron, this one's Aaron.
You will open up a can of worms that we don't want to deal with.
Right.
I wonder if there's ever been like some crazy loony patriarch.
You know
who's just
that
like he's just. I feel one coming.
I feel an Aaron coming on. I feel it. This kid's good. I like this kid. We're gonna make him Aaron. I like this kid. That would be so amazing. And then what do? I mean, does that kid walk around telling people, "Oh, by the way, I'm a bishop"?
Crazy patriarch. I love it.
Anywho,
right.
So the thing is, you don't get to be special.
No,
You're not special. You're not from a special tribe. You're not anything special. And you get this generic bullshit thing.
So mine talks about my faithfulness in the preexistence.
Oh yes,
clearly, because I already knew that from Sunday school,
right? Because you're here.
I've been told that my entire life up to this point,
In the pre-existence, if you weren't faithful, then you followed Satan, and you don't get to come to Earth.
But apparently, I had a special relationship with my heavenly parents,
right? Special is code in Mormon talk for everybody's special,
right? Well,
for generic,
the special ones got to be Mormon.
Right. Oh, yes, of course. Right.
Right. So, okay. So
great.
check that one off the list. Okay.
Right.
Something else I already knew. And it says, remember, the evil one is real and he desires you to be his. Because of the special association you have had with your heavenly parents, he has an increased desire to cause you to stumble. Oh. Listen to the whisperings of that still small voice, and you will be guided and directed and warned in advance of difficulties and dangers and be spared many of the problems of the world.
Oh.
Isn't that special?
It feels good to hear.
It does feel good.
You're special.
The evil one wants me.
He wants you extra.
Yeah. I must have been really special.
Ooh.
And what's coming next?
The bad guy's really coming for you.
Yeah. And here's the part where I know that he was just saying bullshit. You have a winning personality. Because if he knew me at all, he knows, no, I don't. My personality, there's nothing winning about my personality.
You're like,
I'm pretty sure I'm pretty negative.
Yeah, exactly. Like, well, all of the guys at my D&D circle like me, so that must be true.
Shut up. I wasn't allowed to go to D&D.
Of course you weren't. Oh, of course you weren't. You were nerdy enough for it, but it was too Satan-y for
I know.
your folks.
It says I have a winning personality. All right, whatever. Which you should develop and cultivate as a means with which to serve the Lord. As a missionary, you will convince many of the gospel truths. Apparently, he also didn't know I was going to Italy.
Right.
Because of your sincerity and your love for them. There will be many join the church because of your efforts.
Yeah.
Zero.
That's
Thank
right.
God.
You didn't baptize a single
person.
And that's back when you believed. That's back when you were like on board.
Yeah,
So,
pretty much.
So no.
And then there will be others, okay, that you will not see develop as converts. But because of your industry, the seed, oh boy, and I was holding on to this part, the seed has been sown. And others will be able to convince them of the truth at another time.
Wow, what a cop-out. That's such an easy out.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, all of this language is just, it's as generic as you please.
Yeah.
You can say this to anybody.
And here's the part that my masturbation screwed up really quickly because it happened too much. You will have the opportunity to sit in council with the brethren.
Oh.
And provide leadership to many of the saints throughout the world. I know. I was supposed to be a 70, folks.
You were supposed to be a general authority of the church. Although there's outs for that, too. I mean, it doesn't quite say you're going to be a general authority.
I could have written a book.
Sit in council.
Maybe
it
could have
just
had a
means
meeting at the church office building about something.
Right.
You know?
Oh, my gosh. That's so fun. But, boy, you hang on to those. As soon as you get that, you're like, oh, I am special.
Yeah. Here's another one where it was like, bullshit. You were born of good parents.
They're good.
They're nice people.
They're nice people.
They weren't good parents, though.
There you go. Get to my favorite part.
Brother Feldman, there is a young lady now being prepared for you. You will recognize each other at the proper time if you live faithful and keep the commandments and keep yourself clean and pure. You will take her to the house of the Lord, where you will be instructed from on high, endowed with knowledge and sealed for time and all eternity as husband and wife. Your children will be born into the covenant, and you will experience great joy as you watch them grow and develop. Your joy will grow as your posterity expands.
Oh, I can just imagine little gay Frank trying to make sense of that bit.
Well, I was like, poor her.
Oh, that poor girl.
That poor girl. I'm not interested in her at all.
I guess, but
it's going to be misery. We have to make. It's not just a child. It's not your child will be born.
No.
I have to have sex with her more than once.
Yeah, you have to keep doing it. This is not going to be fun.
God, what if we're not like instantly like fertile? And I'm gonna have to do it a lot.
Yeah.
And then it just keeps going for a few more paragraphs. I seal you to come forth in the morning of the first resurrection.
Because that's what everybody's supposed to do.
Everybody gets to.
It's so
if
dumb.
you were righteous.
It's so dumb.
And so it just keeps going. It's all these it's just general bullshit. Bullshit nonsense that he could say to anyone.
Now,
and they would get it. They could make that fit their life.
Right. Now, here's the thing about that. A lot of people get their general thing and feel it's so specific and feel it's so important to them that they just cherish it for the rest of their lives.
People will fold these up. They'll fold up a copy and they'll put it in like the back of their scriptures.
They'll have it laminated.
They'll shrunk down.
And laminated. Yep, I've seen that one too.
And so they can have it with them so that in difficult times they can read it. And it's like, it's scripture for you.
Yes.
This is scripture. This is the Lord has spoken to you through this old man.
Right.
And his wife wrote it all down.
His wife typed it up for you.
And so, yeah, that's now your special scripture.
And I got to say, believing devout little Dan went to his patriarchal blessing, sat down, had the laying on of hands, heard the whole thing, was so excited going in, so dejected walking out.
No.
I was like, what is this generic bullshit? What the fuck just happened to me? I thought, I could not believe that it was so obvious and generic. Like, I instantly caught on to that.
Wow.
And was just heartbroken as I left.
You're like, where am I going to find my little life map now?
How am I going to feel special?
When is the Lord going to
finally
lift me up to the station that I deserve?
Right. Because literally, probably, it's not word for word, but 90% of what's in yours is what's in mine, is what's in everybody's.
Yeah.
Like
that's why I want it out there.
There's nothing individual about it.
No.
My aunt, bless her, my aunt felt now there's a loophole to the you only get one thing, which is that if your father is or grandfather, I think, is a patriarch, is called to be a patriarch, then
and you already had yours,
then your family member can do one for you as well, and then you get two.
Right. That's bullshit.
It's well, there you go.
That's unfair.
It is unfair.
You get two.
Yeah.
Oh, you're so special. You get two.
You get the same bullshit twice, except that at least that time you've got a relative, so they could say something that is actually individual to you. Because I had never met this old man before in my life,
and that was the same with me. Yeah.
Anyway, so there's this whole thing. She got her two different patriarchal blessings. My aunt, she was a devout believer, and she clung to her patriarchal blessing. But the thing is, she was married. She had her husband cheated. They got divorced, and her patriarchal blessing was very clear about her like having an eternal family and like having this man be with her till and going on, like, I think it said something about missions later in life and all of this stuff.
Yeah.
And it didn't work.
Yeah.
So
you know what? Life got in the way.
She died heartbroken.
Oh, God.
She died like the whole, like, she went to her grave believing that this shit was going to come true, and it never did.
That's really sad.
Yeah, well, that's what happens when you lie to people. They get sad.
Yeah.
So, I don't know. There you go. It's wizardry and witchcraft.
Mormon style.
They
do it. They've got their weird little shit.
Yeah.
It seems so plain and so just like it's nothing. I mean, all their churches look like they're Motel 6s, you know, and they're just like
cookie cutter.
Yeah.
Boring.
And that's what they seem like. And then they've got this little side to them that's just, I'm sorry. It's weird.
Yeah.
And because of my, proximity to it, it creeps me out.
But I mean, it's just like any psychic thing anywhere. It's got to be generic enough that it applies to everybody, but seems specific.
Yeah.
So there you go. If you want to see Frank's, what it looks like and everything, are you going to post an image of it?
I'm going to put a JPEG up.
Yeah. So you'll get to see what it all looks like, and you'll probably block
I'll redact.
out. Yeah, you'll redact
some personal information.
Right.
That's at the top.
But there you go. Go to thankgodimatheist.com to see that. It'll be up soon.
Yeah.
And
if not already.
And that's also where you can click donate if you want to donate to things. Yeah. If you want to write to us about it, if you have anything you want to say about it, you can do that. You can write to us at podcast@thankgodimatheist.com.
And I would love to hear from our Mormon patriarchal blessing holders.
Yeah,
ex-Mormon.
Tell us about your experience.
What was it like?
Was it like ours?
Yeah. Leave us a voicemail if you want about that. 424-666-8442 is the number.
Right. Or you can also just go to facebook.com/TGIAtheist and you can interact with each other. Tell each other your stories as well.
Absolutely. Well, all right. Well, thanks, of course, to Mackenzie for all the help on Facebook.
Right.
And thanks to the Red Rock Hot Club for letting us use their music. And thank you, listeners, for listening.
For everything you do.
Yeah.
See you later.
Bye-bye.